Hello everybody, welcome to this video on mean and median. In this video we're going to try to understand what is mean and how is it useful. So let's take a real life problem. So here is a list of marks for 4 subjects, and these are for 10 students. So each student, we have the marks listed. So the question is, we need to sequence the subject in the order of the performance. So pause the video and try to tell yourself, how would you do this? Okay, in case if you have told yourself you will find the average and then compare, you're right. That's what we will do. How do you find the average? So here's a Excel where I have all these data. So first, to find the average, I need to find the sum of all these subjects. So Excel gives us a great set of tools which we can use to find the sum. So here I'm going to say sum equal to sum of numbers from the first cell to the last cell, right? So usually you would calculate them, or you would type them in your calculator, or if you don't use calculator, you will add them. So here is the sum of all the subject marks for this subject. Similarly, I can say, hey, what is the sum of all the subjects all the marks of subject 2? So to find this average and do the comparison, we can use Excel, and I'm using Excel here. Ideally you would do it in your notebook, you would manually add, but Excel provides us a list of tools. So first we find the total of all these subjects. So I say sum of this number to this number, so all of them. So I had to put an equal to here, so equal to sum of here to here, right? I selected all the cells and I get the sum. And similarly, I find the sum here as well. I can either copy paste this to here, or I can find out the sum here as well, sum of this to this. And let me copy paste this formula, so you see that this says sum of all the cells from here to here. So that's what this is. And I would also find the sum of the subject 4, which is, yes, 140. Now to find the average, your average is equal to total divided by number of students. In this case, or total divided by, in a more generic sense, you can say number of items for which you have the values. So in this particular case, my average would be equal to 935, which is a total, divided by 10, which is 93.5, and here the average would be 611 divided by 10. I have to say equal to 611 divided by 10, which is 61.1, equal to 356 divided by 10, which is 35.6, and here is 140 divided by 10, which is 14. So these are our average, and now this gives us a good mechanism to compare. So let's write down all our subject averages. So for subject 1, our average mark is 93.5 out of 100. Subject 2 is 61.1 divided by 100. Subject 3 is 35.6 divided by 100, and finally subject 4 is 14 out of 25. So here's a slight problem though. So we have the average as 14 out of 25. We need to convert it into 100. So the way we do that is we multiply the top and bottom by, or rather, let's do it in the whiteboard. It's more easier that way. So these are our averages. Now the only problem is we have this quantity which is 14 out of 25. So we can convert it into 100 by saying this is nothing but 14 into 4 divided by 25 into 4. So that's 56 out of 100. And once you get this, then you can compare. You can sequence them. So in the order of increasing average, so the subject, or rather than that, decreasing average. So the subject 1 is the first. It's number 1. The number 2 would be subject 2. Number 3 would be subject 4 because it has 56 out of 100. So that's subject 3, and then you have subject 4, right? So this is a sequence in which we have found out all our averages. So this is very intuitive, and I'm sure all of you are familiar or comfortable with this concept. Now what we're going to do here is we're just going to give some mathematical notations to all that we have done so far. So in this, we have these values that you have. We say, hey, for any random data, we say that, hey, this would be up to xn. So if you have xn values, you say the sum is equal to x1 plus x2 plus and so on plus xn. And this can be written as sigma I equal to 1 to n xn. So you can write this way, and your average, which can also be called as a mean, is equal to your sum divided by number of items. And that you can write it as sigma I equal to 1 to n xn divided by n. So this may look very intimidating here for you. All this means is you are taking the sum and dividing it by the number of items. Okay, so we're done with the first concept. Now let's assume your head of the school comes and says, okay, you know what, we don't like the fact that your subject 3 has a very, very low average. It looks like you know in this subject the paper was really tough, or there's something really wrong that has happened, right? Because class average can't be so low. So so the head of the school comes and tells you that, hey, give everybody grace marks. Let's say 25 marks extra for the subject. Wow, I know it's it'd be wonderful if somebody does that, but okay, let's assume for subject 3 somebody comes and says, hey, let's add 25 marks for everybody because everybody seems to have got really, really low marks. All right, so now let's see what happens. Let's go back to our Excel. So you have subject 3. So this was original marks for subject 3. Subject 3 original marks. So we're going to add 25 to this subject. So I'm going to add whatever this value was plus 25. So it became 47 and so on. I'm going to do it for each of the students. I've added 25 marks for everybody. So these are new marks. Once I have the new marks, then let's try to find the new average. So what will be the new average? Would be equal to the sum of all the items, that is all the students' new marks, divided by the number of items, which is 10. So you have same, you have this, you have the same index here. So these are the marks. These are the marks of the subject 3, new marks and the old marks. So let's copy that here. Okay, so there you go. So subject 3, these are the original marks, and the new marks we have added 25. Let's say the new total would be equal to sum of all these new marks, and new average is equal to the new total divided by 10. So that's 60.6 is a new average. So let's go back to this correction and see how the data looks. So here is what has happened. So for subject 3, we have now increased all these marks that we have, added 25, and found the new average. New average is 60.6. The old average was 35.6, right? So you can clearly see that by adding 25 marks to each of these subjects, we ended up adding 25 marks overall to the average, and this became 60.6, which is the same as the average that we have got here, right? So that is so that's the first property we have. So the first property we have is increasing each item by let's say A will increase mean by A. Now similarly, let's say the head does something, or the head of the school does something strange. He says that, look, you can't have a 93.5 average for all the subjects. So why don't you subtract 10 marks from each of the subjects for each of the student in subject 1, you subtract it by 10 marks and find the new average for me. So pause the video here and think what would happen if you would subtract to the average, if you would subtract 10 marks to each item. So that means 97 becomes 87, 98 becomes 88, 92 becomes 82, and so on. So pause the video here and think what will happen to the average. You guessed it right. The average would be 93.5 minus 10, which is 83.5, because 93.5 was the original average that we got, which is summing all these items and dividing by 10. And here, since you subtracted each item by 10, your net average will also go down by 10. So that's our second property, right? Decreasing each item by A will decrease average by A. Now you can extend this idea and try to see what happens when we multiply or divide. So let's take a data set. Let's take a data set of X is 2, 3, 6, or rather let's take only the even numbers, 12, 16. Let's find the average equal to how much, and then let's divide each of x, divide all of the x by 2. So let's do x by 2. That'll be equal to 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, and let's say 2x. 2x is 1, 2, 2x would be double the value that we have here for these values of x. So that would be, the values would be 4, 8, 12, 24, and 32, right? So let's find out the average for each of these data sets, x, x by 2, and 2x. So let's find the average for each of this data set. So pause the video and find the values for the average. So yes, if you got this as your answers for each of these cases, you're on the right track. You can clearly see that when you divide each of the values by 2, your overall average also goes down by 2, or it becomes 8 divided by 2, which is 4. And when you multiplied each of the item by 2, your average is got multiplied by 2. So this is our third property that we have. So adding or multiplying each item by a, multiplying or dividing, or dividing each value by a results in multiplying or dividing average by a. So all your division, multiplication, addition, if you apply to all the items, then your average will also change accordingly. Alright, so this is all about median. I would like to end the session by giving you a checkpoint question. Sorry, did I say median? Oh, sorry, this is all that we have studied about mean. Pardon me for a slip of my tongue. We will look into median in the next chapter. So here is your checkpoint. So here is a checkpoint. Please find the answer and try to update the comment section with your answers. I hope you found this video useful and meaningful. See you in the next one. Bye.